All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is May 23rd. Happy Tuesday to everyone out there. We got a jam-packed slate of MLB games to jump into today. We're going to go through each and every game. I'm going to cover each game, give you my lean or leans on the games, but as always, my final plays, those will be in the pinned comments, so make sure to check that out. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. We're coming off of another night where we go 3 and 3 here. We had the Rays money line, the Astros money line, and then we had Freddie Freeman over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs as a player prop. That cashes. Then our losses were the Marlins money line, Red Sox money line, and then Kevin Kiermaier money line, which I thought he was going to cash this one, stepping up to the plate. I think he was 0 of 3 at the time, getting up to the plate, bases were juiced, gets pinch hit for. So yeah, tough to see that, but 3 and 3 night isn't going to kill us, but it's really tough just to keep knocking on heaven's door here and just waiting to have a big night. I mean, I know a couple nights ago we went 3 and 1, but I want to string a couple really good nights together. But like I said, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. Our ride of the day yesterday also does not cash. Scott came in with the Mariners minus 1.5 and the Texas money line parlay. Now, I'd seen some bangers come out from Scott in the past in the comments, so unfortunately we decided the first time to ride with his picks here. They don't cash, but yes, he has hit plenty in the comments, so I want to give credit where it's due. But Texas money line ruins this parlay. They get beat by the Tigers. Of course, the Tigers come to be, and I was a little weird about that. I leaned Texas yesterday in the video, but I even said so much the public is on Texas, kind of want to stick away because Vegas hasn't moved the lines or the odds of the pricing of that game, and look what happens. But yeah, we go one of 2 in that parlay, guys. If you want to be the ride of the day, all you got to do is use hashtag ride of the day in the comments. I'm going to be picking one person in the comments to jump on board with your pick. Do something creative, maybe a little parlay, a player prop, a first 5, that type of thing, guys. I usually don't love to pick things that we cover in the video just because I go through each game anyways. So if you want to get a little creative, use hashtag ride of the day. Give me an absolute lock of a pick, and I'll be looking for one person to jump on board with. And you guys get a shout out, win or loss, in the next video. When you win, we celebrate, have a good time. You might get a cha-ching or the cheering sound drop, but if you lose, you gotta face the womp womp, which hopefully Scott can handle today. But yeah, guys, use hashtag ride of the day. Let's jump into this first game here. We're looking at Cleveland taking on the White Sox. Yesterday's game ends in a 3-0 win for Cleveland here. Hunter Gaddis goes 6 innings and catches that win, but the pitcher's a little bit different today. Logan Allen on the mound for the Guardians, 1-1 with a 3.04 ERA, and Dylan Cease on the mound for the White Sox, 2-3 with a 4.78 ERA. Now, I've said that I like him in the past, but this is not, not a spot where I like the White Sox today, going up against a left-handed pitcher. On the season against lefties, they are 2-7 here. I just don't like the spot for them. You have decent odds for Cleveland, who is a better team as well, at minus 125 on the money line. I am going to lean towards Cleveland here, though I don't like to fade Dylan Cease. He just hasn't been performing. They're not scoring runs for him, 1, and 2, even when he goes out and pitches a decent game, he's only pitching, 5-6 innings, which I want to see him kind of get deeper into the games. My only concern would be that Logan Allen here, again, kind of on the same note, not pitching deep into the games, but he's not allowing many runs. He's not a strikeout guy either, so hopefully he can kind of up those strikeout numbers just a little bit, keep White Sox players off base, because even though they've won 2 of the last 3 games he started, his whip has been tough. 1.59 3 starts ago, 2 starts ago, 2.31, and then last start 1.41. No decisions in all 3 of those starts. They end up winning 2 of 3, but I don't love getting guys on base like that. So we're gonna lean towards Cleveland minus 125, mainly because I don't think this White Sox lineup really can handle left-handed pitching, and I'm trusting Gilbert just a little bit in this one. Then we're looking at a total, Gilbert, we're trusting Allen in this one. And then we're looking at a total of 8 runs here. Neither one of these teams has really been covering this like clockwork here. The White Sox only have covered this in games that they've played in 2 of their last 10 games. They've missed it in 10 straight. Yesterday's game was a 3-0 game. I'm going to lean towards a very slight under in this one as well. Next game up, we got Pittsburgh taking on the Rangers. We just talked about this with the ride of the day. Pittsburgh coming off of the win yesterday. That final score was 6-4. On the mound today for the Pirates is going to be Rich Hill, as they are plus 143 dogs here at home. Starting for the Rangers is Nathan Eovaldi. He's 5-2 with a 2.83 ERA, and I think the Rangers bounce back in this one. Caesar's your best bet right now at -160, so the odds are up there. I don't know if I totally love that. I wouldn't hate the run line either for some plus money, but I do think this is a good bounce back spot for the Rangers here. I definitely think that, obviously coming off a loss against a team that they probably could have won that game yesterday. Shout out to Pittsburgh. They played decent baseball, winning that 6-4, kind of a middle of the road win there. But I do think this is a good spot. Rich Hill on the mound for the Pirates, who I don't trust altogether, and Texas 9-5 against lefties on this season. They could put up any runs at any amount of runs at any given moment too. So we do love to see that. But Rich Hill in his last start was really his only, I would say, I might get hate for saying this, stellar start of the season. 6 innings pitched, a .5 whip with 0 earned runs and 7 strikeouts. Now, he's had a good season, 4-3. He's won more games than he's lost, but that was definitely, in my opinion, probably his best start there, in which, he doesn't let up any runs, pitches really good, and that whip was the lowest it had been all season long. So I want to give credit there where it's due. I don't want to kind of, act like he stinks, but I do think he's that was his last start, which is really great, and it was against, my grand point here, the Tigers. That's not this Texas Rangers offense. This Texas Rangers offense can go off on any single pitcher here. So I am going to look at the Rangers on the money line. I don't hate them on the run line either. We'll see which one we end up pulling the trigger on. Keep an eye on the pinned comment. And then I also like the under 8.5 runs here. I don't think that the Pirates are going to get to Eovaldi today, who has been pitching really good baseball. 2 of his last 3 starts, scoreless games. He's gone 8+ innings in those games. Last game was even a good game too. They lose that game 6-5, but he pitched 7 innings, 3 earned runs. Those came late with a 1 whip and 5 strikeouts, which is one of his worst starts of the year. Still, a lot of pitchers would take that stat line. So I don't think the Pirates are going to get to Eovaldi today, if I'm being completely honest. They don't bat against right-handers all that well either, so I like this spot for Texas. And I also like the under again, because I think Texas can go out there and score 6-7 runs. I don't know what the Pirates are going to really contribute today, which, kind of scary to only think that one team's going to really carry the brunt of scoring, but that leads to an under. All right, Philadelphia taking on Arizona, and I love to see Arizona get the win yesterday. Philly was a -220 on the money line, and Arizona wins that game 6-3. On the mound for the Phillies today, they have Matt Strahm, and Ryan Nelson's on the mound for the Diamondbacks. Strahm has a 2.73 ERA with a 3-3 record. Has lost his last two of his last 3 starts here, so obviously has the team. Ryan Nelson here coming off of 3 no decisions, but the team has won 2 of his last 3 starts. Now, their level of competition here hasn't been all that great, but I will say this Arizona team's playing good baseball. 8 of their last 10 games they have won. They've won 4 of their last 5. They're playing decent baseball. I don't know how much validity we want to throw into it, playing the Giants, then playing the A's, then playing Pittsburgh. A lot of winnable games there, but then they just go and play Philly, who I will say Phillies I would put in that class of a decent team, right? Better than probably any of those teams that I mentioned, and they go out in there in game 1 of the series, win 6-3. That being said, I think it's a little bit of an overreaction from the books here to go and drop Philly from -220 money line favorites down to -130-ish. I still like Matt Strahm. I know Ryan Nelson has some juice with him, but I don't think that he's I'm going to back the pitching of Phillies today, and I do think this is a good spot. So I think this might stay at a lean because the public and the money is all over the Philadelphia Phillies today. So, I don't want to necessarily be like, oh, we're just going to jump on board with exactly what everyone else is doing, but I think that this is a really big overreaction by the books. I think the Phillies come back and get this win today and even out this series. Then we have a total of 9.5 runs. This one I'm kind of indifferent to. I don't really have an official lean for you guys. If I had a gun to my head, I would slightly lean towards the over, but I don't think that becomes a final play. But let me know in the pinned comments, or let me know in the comments if you guys do have a play on this over, because I'm kind of lost on it, to be completely honest. All right, I want to ask you guys a question. Have you checked out Outlier yet? Outlier, my favorite sports betting research tool. I've talked about it plenty on the channel, and I'm going to continue talking about it as long as I think it provides value. What it does is goes through games and player props and any bet that's out there on 4 of the most major sports books, and finds different plays that you might be able to capitalize on in looking at trending plays. For example, let's go ahead and dive in. Right from the home screen, you'll see this trend screen here. It also has your picks up here that you want to make, but you can see Mike Trout has failed to exceed 1.5 total bases in 8 straight games at home. You can go ahead and actually look into it if you want to analyze it a little bit more and kind of see what's going on here. You can dig into the game that he's playing in. You can look at the lineups. It is a very, very good tool, guys. You can even go over to the player props. This is the section that I like. This is where you can kind of take a slab of stone and make it what you want. This is going to have every single player prop that is offered on FanDuel, on MGM, on DraftKings, and on Caesars. You can see the sportsbooks up here that they offer. And you can see Jacob Stallings under 1.5 bases. He's done it in 100% of his last 10, 100% of his last 5, last 20, everything. If we wanted to look into this a little bit more, you could see that he is definitely trending in that direction. He's hit this in 87% of games this season. If we wanted to go and throw this in, it is pretty juiced. But you can click add to my picks. And right in the bottom of the screen here, you can't see it because it's behind my camera, there is a little picks button here, and you can go in and pick which sportsbook you want to do this on. Okay, we want to do it on DraftKings. We'll click continue right here, right? Look, no hands. It's going to find that DraftKings slip or DraftKings play and put it right into your bet slip, and you don't have to go digging for it, and you can bet right from here. So definitely worth checking out, guys. Head over to Outlier. I have a link for that in the description as well as the pinned comment. You can get a 7-day free trial, but it is an amazing research tool. And just look at the comments of some of the most recent videos of people talking about that they've signed up for Outlier. They're loving it too. So the proof is in the pudding, guys. It definitely is something that is worth checking out. And like I said, it's a free trial. 7-day free trial. If you have a problem with free, then maybe you are the problem. So definitely go check out Outlier, guys. Let's get to the next game. All right, so the Cardinals taking on the Reds. Yesterday, the Cardinals do get the win, but I don't think I saw it going exactly like that. They win this one 6-5. Cincinnati, I think, played a little bit better baseball than I would have thought. On the mound for them today is going to be Graham Ashcraft. He's 2-2 with a 4.84 ERA. Adam Wainwright on the mound for the Cardinals, 1-1 with a 5.74 ERA. He's been pitching okay. His best start of the season, I would say, was last start in which he got the win. They won 16-8 over the Dodgers there. He pitched 5 2/3, only let up 2 runs with a 1.4 whip. Ashcraft here on the mound, his whip has been all over the place. Though he's pitching, sometimes 5+ innings, really not getting that many innings out of him and earning a lot of runs here. And his whip in his last 3 games, 4.79, 1.41, which is the best of his last 3, which still isn't all that great, and 2.20. So I think this guy, started the season okay, we can say, right? Started the season okay, but has definitely started to slide off here. And you're getting the Cardinals on the money line at -135. I'm going to lean in that direction. Something worries me about looking at the money and the percentage here in terms of bet percentage and money percentage. I'm finding that on Outlier, guys. 59% of the bets as of right now on those 4 sports books are on the Cardinals, but 92% of the money on the Reds here. So I'm a little weary of that. It could be something that keeps me off of this game altogether. I want to share that. Then in terms of a total 10.5 runs, I think is a little bit too high. Yes, they went up there and scored 11 yesterday, but I do think that this is more of like a 5-4 game or a 4-3 type game. I don't think the offenses necessarily spark again. And if one of them is, I think it's going to be St. Louis, and Cincinnati may come back down to earth. All right, it was good to cash this one yesterday. We had the Rays money line over Toronto. They get the Game 1 win in this series. Right now, Rays -130 favorites at home. Total sitting at 8.5 runs. On the mound for the Rays, Taj Bradley, 3-0 with a 3.54 ERA. Jose Barrios on the mound for the Blue Jays, 3-4 with a 4.61 ERA. Taj Bradley won 2 of his last 3 games here. Barrios has 1 win, 1 no decision, and 1 loss in his last 3. So not all that much consistency there. I do think that this Toronto team can hang with Tampa Bay because Tampa Bay's kind of been sliding too, but they've lost 5 straight games. They just have not been playing good baseball. So by default, I think I'm going to look at the home team here and lean towards the Rays. But this is a pick that, if you guys are on Tampa Bay, if you're on Toronto for +110 odds, plus money odds, I don't think that I would hate that. Like, I don't mind them on the run line either. We saw that game almost, Toronto almost won that game in the 9th inning last night. They had like 3 men on, or bases loaded, 2 men on, something like that, 2 outs, and just kind of choked it up. So yes, they had to come back to get into that spot. I admit that, but they almost won that game. I could say that honestly. So I do think this could be a close game. And then in terms of the total 8.5, this is probably where my main lean is going to come into this game. I do think that this is an over-type game. Both these teams have been cashing this fairly consistently. 3 games in a row for both teams in their last 3 games. And the the Rays have cashed this in 8 of their last 10 games here. So I don't think any of the pitching would make me want to avoid anything that we're looking at here. So I do like the over 8.5, and I like that more than probably a side in this game. All right, we got a new series here to look at. Washington taking on the Padres here. Washington coming off of taking 2 of 3 against Detroit. San Diego coming off of a 2-1 loss of the series against Boston here. They did catch that last game. Do they bring a little momentum into this one? Perhaps, but I don't necessarily think so. Mackenzie Gore on the mound for the Nationals, 3-3 with a 3.69 ERA. Yu Darvish on the mound for the Padres here. He is 2-3 with a 3.5 ERA here. I think this is a national spot. I do think a lot of people are going to be on the Padres, so we're kind of fading the public in the sense. And this Nationals team, yes, they played a bad team in Detroit, but still looked decent there. Won 5-2, 6-4, covering, a -1.5 run line in both of those games. And even their loss was kind of a close game there, and it was game 1. So I'm going to lean towards the Nationals for plus 138 now on FanDuel. I think that there's some good odds there. I don't think either pitcher is going to be a huge deciding factor. It's not like, the Padres hit left-handers exquisitely or the Nationals hit right-handers exquisitely or vice versa, anything like that. So I am going to lean towards Washington. Then in terms of a total, we're looking at 8 runs. Washington coming off of covering this in 2 of their last 3, but the Padres have only hit over 8 runs in a game that they've played in once in their last 10 games. They've missed it in 4 straight. So I think I'm going to lean slightly towards the under 8 here. I wish this was 8.5, but we'll take 8, I guess. Next game, we got the Yankees taking on the Orioles here. Garrett Cole on the mound, 5-0 with a 2.01 ERA. Taking on Kyle Bradish, 2.2-1 record with a 3.9 ERA. Honestly, his numbers sound fine. You compare him to Cole, and you're like, oh, that guy stinks. These guys played earlier in the year, and the Yankees won that series 2-1 here. Last game was kind of close, though. Game 3 of that series was 5-3. I do think that, you got to back Garrett Cole. A lot of the public is on the Yankees today, which is, again, sometimes we've got to fade the public, but sometimes they're right. The only thing that worries me and makes me a little weary of this is the fact that 91% of the money, it's really early in the day, but 91% of the money right now is on the Orioles. So do they know something we don't know? Or is that just because, there's better odds, payoff in terms of the Orioles? That's another thing, sidebar here to think about when you look at bet percentage versus, money percentage. A lot of the time, some of these sharps and whatnot throw out a little bit, their half unit might be bigger than 10 times the size of your unit, right? But they throw that on there to sprinkle a little bit on a decent chance for kind of a big payoff hit. So Baltimore plus 154 on FanDuel right now. Yes, that seems pretty good. Seems like a decent payout, but I don't necessarily love it. I think that this Yankees team is actually probably better to take on the run line, to be honest. So I see that difference in terms of bet percentage and money percentage, but this is one where I'm kind of trying to be a little smarter than just trusting the percentages here and looking at what we're dealing with. You're looking at Garrett Cole, who obviously is going to deal, and not like this Baltimore team, struggles against right-handed pitchers or is great against right-handed pitchers, anything like that. But nonetheless, he is just one of the best, if not the best pitcher in the league right now. So I'm going to lean towards the Yankees. I can't pay minus 170, which is what it is at DraftKings right now on the money line. So by default, I'm going to look at Yankees minus 1.5 and hope that Garrett Cole can deal and keep this team down while the Yankees offense continues to, take steps in the right direction. In their last 4 games here, the least amount of runs they've scored was 4, which isn't all that great, but they're, they were coming off of maybe end of April, scoring 5 runs as the maximum. So right now it seems like the floor is 4, which is definitely good to see. We're looking at a total of 7.5 runs. Now that is mostly because of what I just said about Garrett Cole holding the Baltimore Orioles down and everything like that, but I still do think that this is such a tough spot to pick, so I don't really have a pick on the total. I'd like to see this go under, because if this goes under, I think it means that this Yankees team wins 4-1 or 4-2 and covers that run line. If this goes over, I do think Baltimore push the pace, and even if the Yankees end up winning, I don't think they cover the run line. So I don't know, maybe that's my crazy brain, maybe you guys just got to fade me, but I do think that this is an under type game, but I don't necessarily have the biggest feel for it, so I might be sticking off of the total here. All right, Braves taking on the Dodgers. I don't have much for you on this game as of right now because, like I said, very early when we're recording this, we don't know who's pitching for the Dodgers, and Spencer Strider's on the mound for the Braves. So if the Dodgers roll out some, Joe Schmo or Schmuck, I do think that I lean towards the Braves in this one. Dodgers coming off the win yesterday, 8-6. We love to see that. That was one of our leans. They were plus 133 on the money line. This also cashed the over. I do think that obviously Spencer Strider is, to depending on who the Dodgers throw out, Spencer Strider is worth backing here, but minus 200 odds right now, not really going to do it for me. So I don't have much to say on this game until we know who the Dodgers are trotting out there. I don't think that they're going to trot out anyone good, just based on where the line is right now. Like I would think the books would have some sort of inkling of what their plan is. And then we have a total of 8.5 runs. I think this one actually does ultimately end up going under, regardless of who the Dodgers trot out there. So I am comfortable with the under, but I don't really want to make a side pick until we know who the Dodgers are playing or who they're pitching. All right, Cubs taking on the Mets here. The Cubs minus 103 at home as of right now. We do have a total. It's not on the graphic, but we've since gotten an updated total at 8 runs. It's opened up at 9 runs last night, then drops to 8 when they pull out the new line here. This Cubs team on a slide. You know, I thought that they may be coming back. You guys know I've had this I don't even know why I keep pulling the trigger on the Cubs, but they've lost 7 of their last 10 games. They've lost 7 of their last 8 games, right? So that's even worse here. And the Mets trending in the exact opposite direction with a decently hard schedule in this win streak here. They take 2 of 3 against Tampa Bay, and then they sweep Cleveland. Now, I know I'm probably giving Cleveland too much credit here, but Cleveland's a good team. I would say they're a good team. I'm not going to go beyond that, but good team, right? So this Chicago team, little worrisome as of right now. On the mound for them today is Drew Smyly, one of their bright spots, I guess, pitching right now. Even Marcus Stroman, who should be their ace, is not getting the wins. But Smyly 4-1 on the year, 2.86 ERA, and then Senga on the mound for the Mets, 4-2 with a 3.77 ERA. Drew Smyly in his last few starts has been looking really good. I'd say last 2 specifically. 6 innings pitched with 2 earned runs and 1 earned run in those 2, and then 4 strikeouts and 8 strikeouts, keeping the whip under 0.9. Then for Senga, also looking good. The whip got 1.8 in his second most recent start, but he had 12 strikeouts through 6 innings with 1 earned run and 1 whip here in his last start. They're playing really good baseball. That was against Tampa Bay, by the way. So I think that this is going to be kind of I hate to call it a clash of the Titans because neither one of these teams are Titans, but I think this is going to be a good, hard-fought baseball game that, one ball bounce could decide it either way. So I'm actually going to look at the Cubs. Now, this is smart. This is not Evan, who's somehow in love with the Cubs, picking this game. I do think that this is going to be a close game regardless. I'm going to lean towards the Cubs on the run line, plus 1.5. Now, there's 2 reasons why. 1, I already said it, close game, right? And 2, this Mets team, I talked about it in the Guardians series, that, if you just keep taking Guardians run line, you will cash this. And look at what happened. I said the Mets swept the Guardians, right? You know how many minus 1.5 run lines they covered? If you didn't answer, you answered it correctly. They won 10-9. Guardians covered the plus 1.5. They won 5-4. Guardians covered the plus 1.5. And they won 2-1. The Guardians covered the plus 1.5. So this is not me being like, I can't get away from this drug that's called betting the Cubs, right? No, I think this is actually a good spot for them. I also do like the over as well. I think this Mets offense is starting to click. They're scoring, 5-8 runs at the drop of a hat. And the Chicago Cubs, they can go off. I guess I shouldn't say go off. They can score their fair share of, 6 runs or so, which should make this over 8 doable. So that is where we're leaning there. I don't want to see the comments of, you keep betting the Cubs, but I do keep betting the Cubs. So if you do comment that, you're right. All right, guys, no line or total as of right now for this Kansas City and Detroit game, and I'm totally fine with that. I don't want really anything going on with this final play either, so we're going to go ahead and skip this game. If anything comes up, and I do have some sort of a realization that this is a great lock, this is a good play, I'll put that in the pinned comment, but this is a fine game to not have the lines out for because I don't love this series anyways. Next up, Milwaukee taking on the Astros here. Yesterday, the Astros catch the win for their 8th win in a row, 9th in their last 10. Here, we were on board with that. They were only minus 110 in that and still got the win. Now, I always talk about kind of strength of schedule, putting it into perspective when you're looking at these win streaks. Houston, they swept the Cubs. PU, right? They swept Oakland. PU. Now they got a win yesterday against Milwaukee, and I don't know who could stop them yesterday. 12-2 in that victory there. This is a tough one for me because I look at JP France on the side of the Astros. I think I've said it on the videos before. I don't really trust him. I don't love him all that much. And Colin Ray on the mound for the Brewers, I truly don't know all that much about. So I'm going to pickle here when it comes to the pitching. So I have to just trust the offense that I know. Obviously, before making a final play, I'm going to do my due diligence and really dig into what I like on both sides of this. But I do think from my, instant reaction here, looking at this, then, I would say the hour or so of research that we go through these games too, I don't have that pitching feel yet, so it makes me a little worried, but I do trust that this Houston team is getting it done, on the offensive end. I think against the Oakland, they had like a 4-run game and a 3-run game, which you don't love to see, but they didn't need to really score that many runs. The pressure wasn't on. I liked what I saw yesterday, them just teeing off here, scoring 12 runs. So I don't know if this becomes a final play because there is a lot of question marks in my brain. But Houston minus 125 on the road. If I knew, more about what was going on the Milwaukee side of things of pitching, and that's just me being transparent with you guys, by the way. Hopefully you don't hate me on that. Like, I could come on here, put the camera on, and act like I know everything about Colin Ray, other than just looking at his recent stats, right? But I don't. I haven't seen him enough to really get a vibe for him. So nonetheless, guys, I'm going to lean Houston ever so slightly. Total's at 9.5 runs. I like the over here because regardless of if I know much about Colin Ray and don't like JP France, I do think these guys can both let up, 4 runs at any given moment. A couple runs in the bullpen. We're looking at an easy over cash here. And we know Houston's offense is cooking. Milwaukee isn't going to score 2 runs again. They'll probably get back up to scoring 4 to 6 runs here. So I like that. But again, a lot of question marks. And I'm just being honest with you guys. We're all human. A lot of question marks in this series, or in this game for me, I should say. All right, Twins taking on the Giants here. Giants getting the win yesterday. We did lean in that direction. I wish we pulled the trigger. They win 4-1 here. Bailey Ober was on the mound for them yesterday. On the mound for the Twins. On the mound for the Twins today is Sonny Gray, 4-0 with a 1.64 ERA. And you're like, okay, the Twins are in a bounce back spot, right? I do think that they are, but San Francisco's trying out a very good pitcher in and of itself. Alex Cobb, 3-1 with a 1.94 ERA. Didn't have his stuff last time out against Philly. Only pitched 3 1/3 with 2 earned runs, a 3 whip, and 3 strikeouts. Not all that much. But if you look back to what he was doing prior to that, 2 games prior to that, he had 7 innings pitched and 7 1/3 pitched there. Had a 1 whip, a 1.23 whip. Didn't let up a single run in either of those games, and had 5 and 3 strikeouts. So I think the pitching duel is going to be a little bit more, esque of what we thought we'd see from an Alex Cobb game in today's game. But yes, I do think that the Twins bounce back in this spot. I can't see them losing 2 games in a row to a team that they, quite frankly, are, not, that is inferior to them. So I'm going to lean towards the Twins with Sonny Gray on the mound. All things add up. Decent odds right now, too. I know I said minus 140. We can get them at minus 135 over on DraftKings as of right now. And a total of 7.5. I think this is so low because of what we're seeing from the pitchers, which, duh, that makes sense. But I do think that we can see, I'm just going to lean towards the over, okay? I'm going to trust the money. 96% of the money right now on the over here. And we've seen these teams kind of, 50-50 in terms of if they're cashing this or not. The Twins, more often than not, are cashing this than the Giants, but 7.5 is just too low. You do have 2 good pitchers on the mound, and I get that, and I might be a crazy person for taking this over, but I do think that, this can be a pretty simple, 5-4 game where the pitchers the starting pitchers looked all right, then they get a couple late runs and everything like that, so I'm going to lean towards the over. All right, we got Colorado taking on the Marlins. One of our losses yesterday, the Rockies get that win. They win 5-3, and today, I think this is such a simple spot. Tell me in the comments if I'm crazy or if you feel like I'm missing something. This is such a simple spot for the Marlins to bounce back and win this game. I've crapped on Gomber on the mound for the Rockies before. I get it. He's all right, but he's kind of a hit or miss pitcher in my opinion. Yuri Perez, I don't really want to back either, but yes, he's pitching a little bit better. His whip stays way down and compared to Gomber there, and he's more of a strikeout pitcher, I would say. I'm leaning Marlins. You're getting good odds at minus 120 over on MGM right now. Didn't even really spend too much time trying to find a side of this game. I found the Marlins and looked for reasons as to why I liked the Marlins here. In terms of the total, 11.5, still going under, guys. I just have not seen this Rockies team prove that they can consistently hit a over that is that high this season. When at home, 11-12 to the over here. So they're 12-11 to the under. I got to see a little bit more. And they're trending as an under team anyways. 28-20 to the under this season. So, yes, I get it. They're at home. I get science and the altitude. No kidding. But we got to get bats on balls. Even yesterday, they go out and win that game, only scoring 5 runs, though. And, yes, that would be good in most games. But when you're at, Colorado, 5 runs isn't 5 runs, right? You expect that to be a 7-run type game. So I'm going to lean towards the under here as well, just because I can't see this Colorado team really putting their offense totally together as of late. All right, there's no way we still got people watching now. We are 29 minutes into the video. I can't imagine there's anyone watching, but we're going to run it back, guys, and I love doing this. I don't need to explain why I love doing it, but if you're watching, go ahead and comment 29 in the comments. 29. Let me know who the real ones that are sticking around for a damn near half hour listening to this idiotic fool talk some baseball. Really, guys, I would totally appreciate it if you guys drop the 29 if you're still watching. Just let me know who's still out there watching, because yeah, getting up super early every single day, making these videos, editing these videos. I think we've got a pretty good production value compared to a lot of people out there as well. So I do think that, you know, I can be honest that I like seeing that sort of gratification that you guys are here watching all the work that we're putting in. You're staying and watching, so it means the world to me, guys. So make sure you do comment 29 if you're still watching, and if you do, I'm recognizing the names, all the regulars that are still watching each and every video. I'm loving seeing that, and I also love to see the goobers out there that are like, why is everyone commenting 29? You know, what are you commenting 29 for, idiot? And it's like, if you know, you know. So, guys, go ahead and comment that if you are still watching. Let's get into this Red Sox game here. We had the Red Sox on the money line last night. They catch the L. They lose 2-1. So, obviously, a really close game altogether. Canning on the mound for the Angels, 2-2 with a 6.14 ERA. Brian Bayo on the mound for the Red Sox. He is 3-1 with a 4.45 ERA, but with 3 straight wins. And Red Sox minus 112. They are favorites right now in this game. I'm going to lean towards them. I'm fading the public. 87% of bets are on the Angels right now, but I still think the Angels slightly overrated. So I'm going to lean towards the Red Sox in this one, who, yes, they've dropped 2 straight games, but, you know, they looked pretty good to start that San Diego series and to close out that Seattle series. So hopefully they get back to that. I do like Brian Bayo as of late, which is crazy because I did not like him, you know, a month ago, but he's looking pretty good. So I'm going to lean towards the Red Sox in this one. Then we have a total of 9.5 runs. I'm going to go towards the under. That's probably the first time I've leaned Red Sox under in quite some time, but they've been trending in that direction. I think the wheels in terms of this explosive offense is probably, you know, has probably started to fall off, but nonetheless, you know, at any given moment they can go off. So bet that under with your own risk if you are tailing that lean. All right, last game of the slate, we got Seattle taking on the A's. Seattle is going to be my pick. I do like them on the run line again tonight. They won by 1 million last night, but they're playing the A's, who, yes, you know, at any given moment, they'll get blown out. But this A's team has been known to sometimes keep games close, so be weary of that. I think that this may be more of like a Seattle money line parlay piece, if anything. And then we're looking at a total of 8.5 runs. I like the over here. I think the Marlins are going to tee off yet again tonight. Luis Medina on the mound for them, Medina, whatever his name is. Marco Gonzalez, who is a good pitcher, but can kind of explode at any given moment too. Maybe, you know, the Mariners, I don't know if I've said the Mariners or Marlins, but whatever. Mariners might let up, you know, might score 8 runs or so, right? Athletics can score 2, and this could be a blowout game and hit an over, so I'm going to lean towards the over there, guys. And that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Hopefully you guys do enjoy it. I mean, when I said about you guys commenting 29, that absolutely means the world to me, so hopefully you guys do enjoy that and do understand that I'm not just saying that, you know what I mean? Like, all your support and everything, life-changing, so hopefully you guys understand that and just truly get that I'm being real about it, because it's one thing to say it, one thing to mean it, but hard to get that to go through a camera. But yeah, do mean it, guys. Before I start crying, let me close out for the day. Hope you guys do enjoy the video. Catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.